Hey everybody, welcome to the Raise Rowdy podcast. My name is Kurt Ozan.
I'm Nicky T, and this week our guest, Miss Lauren Watkins.
Hi.
Yay!
Thanks for coming on, Lauren.
Thanks
Appreciate
for having
it.
me.
Of
I'm
course.
so glad to be here.
Yeah, I know you've podcasted with Matt before, but it's your first time with us.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Did you podcast in this room with Matt?
No, it was
No.
somewhere else.
I think it was
I
the
don't know
Trey
where it was.
studio.
Oh, gotcha.
Was it
Do
like
you-
couches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was
So
cool.
that was
I
the
don't
Trey
know.
studio.
Do you want me to move this over here?
Oh, you're the
Is this
boss.
gonna be
Yeah,
blocking?
follow your heart.
Whatever.
I
makes
feel like
you
if we had
good.
couches, I would get too sleepy during the combos.
Man, that would be kind of cool if I could take a nap while you hosted.
Yeah,
They were kind of like firm couches. It was like leather, so I was like sitting up
Alright.
straight.
there you go.
Professional.
I always see some people that have couches on their podcast. It's just podcast meta talk.
Yeah.
But it's like the guests always look like they look like this, like when they're talking.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so true.
Sometimes because
Like,
then you have to
this
sit
is
on
your
the edge
job?
of it. Yeah.
This is crazy.
We went with the table. What do you think? Table?
Oh, I
Good?
like the table. Yeah.
Feels
Although
like-
this is a little intimidating. You guys are like.
Interrogation.
Yeah.
We have the good interrogation angle up there too, you know?
Yeah, this is.
It reminds me of those
Yeah.
like true crime videos where it's like showing the interview of like the guy that committed some crime and it's like the person's like psychoanalyzing them. Have you
Yeah.
ever watched those?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. It's like surveillance.
Yes.
Like,
It's like
kind of like a shitty
yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
It's like notice Kurt's body language. His slumped demeanor shows that he's guilty or whatever.
Like, do you notice how he folded his lips in?
Yeah.
Looked away. when
I'm
you
gonna be
asked the question.
overthinking everything I do.
Please
Well,
don't.
Well, your crime for being on the podcast is great music.
Oh
There
wow.
you go. What a transition.
You're a pro.
See,
He's a
semi-pro at least, yeah. But thanks so much for being on here.
Thanks for having me, y'all. I'm
Absolutely.
excited.
Gotten to see you, of course, live before,
Mm-hmm.
and you played for us in Key West. What, 2 years ago? Kurt wasn't
Yes.
there, but Kurt leaves us for Key West now.
Oh,
I had to go to work.
Yeah, the day
okay.
job stuff,
We
you
get it.
know.
We get it.
But man, you've been crushing, sis.
I've been busy.
Yeah,
I've been busy for sure.
You've been touring extensively, and you got a brand new debut album, the full
Yes.
album.
Yes.
Very excited about.
Please listen to it.
Yeah,
I listened to it.
yeah, same.
Thanks.
Yeah, we were very excited about having this one
Thank you.
because we both absolutely love your music.
Oh, y'all are sweet.
I know we do though. Yeah.
Thank you.
So thanks for hopping on.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Why
I'm
don't we
so-
jump right into the album and we'll
Let's
talk
do
about
it.
that first.
Yeah, for sure.
So you had some EPs leading in,
Mm-hmm.
and then this is your first debut album.
First one, yeah.
So why don't you
The
tell us
Big
about
Daddy.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited. It's called the Heartbroken Record, and it's funny. Like everybody always is like, "Oh, it takes your whole life to write your first record," and I always kind of rolled my eyes at that. I'm like, "Okay, artists." Like, but now that I've done it, I feel like that's so true. And so, you know, like you said, we put out those 2 EPs last year, and it was kind of teeing up what the album is. Like, the first one was introducing me, the girl. The second one was introducing the heartbreak and like kind of a little bit of background of like what I've been through, what I've seen, and so then the record just felt right to come next. And it's a whole bunch of heartbreak songs. I love writing sad songs, but I also think that like there's so much to be said for all the different perspectives of heartbreak. I don't think they all have to be sad, slow, bedroom crying songs. Like
Yeah.
I think it's cool that there's a million different sides to it, and I just wanted to cover like as much ground as I could. I love a theme, so I thought it would be cool to do that.
I love theme records too, and
Thanks.
I totally agree that there's so many different sides to heartbreak and love, and everything is so complex. So
Yeah.
getting to be able to work on that on a project where you get to, you know, kind of hit different points of the thing, like where you're feeling at the time,
Yeah,
is so important.
yeah, it's cool.
And also like having just like an general idea kind of makes it easier to write to, I feel like.
For sure.
So it's not like, do I want to write a drinking song or do I want to write a cowboy song or whatever? It's like you kind of know what you're doing. And I think when you put yourself in a box, that it almost like in a backwards way makes you more creative.
For sure, yeah. It's like it gives things direction, and you know, it wasn't like a lot of it was subconscious too. Like I just find myself writing a lot of heartbreak songs because I just think there's endless things to say about it, and sadly, it's the thing that's like most relatable in life.
Yeah.
But when we wrote the song "Heartbroken Record," I sort of like had a light bulb moment of like, this could be a cool concept for a record. And my mom actually said it too. I think she might have said it first and put the idea in my head. And so I just sort of kept it in my back pocket and thought, like, let's just see where this goes and like try to write to it more. And and so we did, and that's what happened. I think it's cool. I'm so happy, like with every song on it. I couldn't have. I don't think it could be what it is without even one song off of it.
Perfect. And it's a shout out to moms. You know, that's great.
Yeah.
I know.
Thanks, Mom.
Shout out to moms. My mom's the best.
No, it's always a thing too, like a parent or someone that's been around you a long time. They know who you are, but they're also slightly outside of your own brain. So who knows you better than your parents?
No, it's
right?
so true. Like when she said that, I was sort of like, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
But I'm always sending her songs, and you know, like I'm always trying to keep her updated on what's going on. And so she was like, hey, that needs to be the record.
She's in demo jail all the time.
She's constantly in demo jail.
Love it. I know she's happy to do that.
Yeah.
My folks are always, they're like, anything I'm involved with, they're like, give me that. I want to watch it. I want to hear it. I want to see it, you know.
My dad is like, he literally is upset. Like he'll be the first one to listen to this. Like he is always like searching for interviews and stuff, and he'll find an interview that I don't even remember that I did. And he's like, why didn't you tell me about this coming out? And I'm like, how did you even find that?
He's so proud. My folks
great.
go on YouTube and like watch like live Luke Combs concerts to see like me running around.
That's awesome.
My mom goes to bed at like 8:30, and we had the radio show on. It was on like 11 p.m. and she would just like take a nap during the day so she could listen to me on the radio.
Stay up an extra couple hours.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
That's sweet.
God bless you, moms and dads.
Yes,
Yeah.
amen.
Yeah.
God bless you.
So the record you talked about, like, did you have a lot of songs that were kind of the base of it, and then you wrote around that, or how exactly did you guys get once you figured out that you wanted to make it kind of a concept record? Was it like, hey, we have all these songs in the tank that kind of fit this, or was it like more writing towards it?
It was kind of like we had a lot of songs that fit it to begin with. Like, for example, Heartbroken Record was one of the first ones I wrote for it. And, you know, I wasn't like hardcore concepting an album yet, because when I wrote that, I hadn't even put out, like, I don't think I had put out any music yet. So it was just sort of a thought in my head that I just kept in my back pocket. And later, like, I feel like this is common for songwriters and artists. Like, the more I wrote, the more I kind of felt like things were going in a certain direction.
Yeah.
And so I kind of just tried to lean into that and keep going. And then eventually I knew that was going to be the name of the album. So then I did try to write for it. But there were definitely some songs that I had already had that I just felt like fit together. Like Leavers Leave, for example. I wrote that one really early on. And I just felt strongly about saving it for a whole album, just because it needed to be like the first song on a large body of work to just kind of like kick it off and say, here's where I'm coming from. Here's what I've been through.
It's super cool to hear thoughts like that too, because I mean, how old were you when you wrote those songs? Probably.
I was like fresh out of college, so not crazy long ago, but I was probably 21.
Yeah,
maybe.
So having like an artistic direction and having like those thoughts, like at that point, it's so amazing. Because at 21, I was just drinking way too much.
Well, I was definitely doing that too.
I mean, a lot of people say like, Kurt, you're lucky to have known like what you wanted to do at an early age, like with your life, with wanting to do music and stuff like that. And I think there's a lot of artists out there too that they want to write and sing and do this, but they don't have like their like artistry dialed in. And so to have that, even an inkling of what you wanted to kind of aim for at an early age is so great. I think that's why you're so successful.
Well,
also,
thank you. That's so sweet. And I mean, I definitely have a long way to go, but I do also feel lucky that I was able to like write for a long-ish time, like behind closed doors and without sharing anything yet. And I have a really smart record label who kind of kept me on the tracks before like just releasing the first song that I wrote. Like I think that they were really helpful in kind of like making me go, all right, let's just keep going and keep writing and see where it goes. And then we release music. And so now I feel like I've gotten to say exactly what needed to be said for this time in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than just putting out the first thing I wrote, which was really bad.
Yeah, you only get one first impression on everyone.
Right.
So to come out of the gate with like this record is,
Sweet.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's super cool too. Like, there's something to be said for that. I remember so many times, like even as a kid, where I was like, man, if Incubus just sat on an island when they wrote this record and wrote 5 records, they would be the most famous band ever. But the truth of the matter is you can't do that because
Yeah.
everything changes once your life changes, right? So
Yeah.
then your series of events are different every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And
It's
you don't have
funny.
as much time to write once you're on the road, which
Yeah.
now
Now I have very little time to write, but I
Yeah.
just get it in when I can. But
Yeah.
you're so right. Like I even think about even just last year, which was like yesterday, basically, when I
Yeah.
put out my first EP, those songs are so clearly where I was at in life, which was just fresh out of college. I was partying and getting my heart broken. And I love that. I love that. That's like, it's just such a picture of where I was. And now it's only been a little bit like later and things are so different. And that's just
Yeah.
cool. I like to see that in other artists too. I like to see life progressing. And
Yeah, I
know?
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the best artists tell their story through time, you know, and they can make stories up that aren't their stories too, but, you know, really paints a picture. And the easiest pictures to paint are the ones of yourself. And for me, the ones that seem the most personal to the artist seem the most personal to me, even though it's not my story. I
Yes.
just feel so connected to it.
So true. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I remember, I think it was Nicole Gallion gave me this advice. I had this song that I don't even remember what song it was, but I was just saying, like, we were talking about, am I going to hold this song for myself or should we pitch it to someone else? And I didn't think it was something that I was going to sing, but I was like, I don't know if we should pitch it. It's so specific. I don't think anybody else would sing it. And Nicole was like, oh, I think you're wrong. Like, I think that's what makes people grip onto songs. The more specific, the better. The more specific details you have, the more people, it paints a picture and they go, oh my gosh, I can feel that same way, which is weird. It's kind of seems backwards, but it's
Right.
just true.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about like when I listen to Zach Bryan's music. It's like everything's like so specific.
Yeah.
It's like really specific, and I'm like, that's extremely specific. Then I go to his show, and everyone's singing these. There's a stadium full of people singing these very specific lyrics, and
Yeah.
it's cool because it's
Yeah.
like I feel like when I listen to his music, I feel like I'm watching a movie or something.
Yeah.
that makes
that's
sense.
true. Yeah.
Those are my favorite songs. I can almost see in my head as either a video or sometimes like I'll see a T-shirt.
Yeah.
You work in merch
Oh
way
my
too
gosh.
much,
I
man.
know. My
No,
brain's
that's
broken.
good. No, that shows that's your passion. That's
Yeah.
cool.
It's like I'll like see a design in my head. Like I remember hearing 30-6 by Hardy and just seeing Hardy with like a dip-in and a gun in his arms, you know.
That's on brand.
That probably can't be a T-shirt, but it would be great if it was.
Oh, I think it could. I'd wear it.
Yeah. But it's super cool to watch your thing grow. I remember, you know, when I was at Big Loud and they signed you and they were like, oh, this Lauren Watkins girl's so good.
Aw.
And Joey was super excited and everyone was super excited. So now to get to hear why they were so excited from the EPs and now the album is so great.
Well, thank you. That's sweet. And to hear Joey say that is the coolest because I'm a huge Joey fan. And he was like, when I signed with Big Loud, I was just hoping Joey would want to work with me. And so now that, I mean, we just clicked right off the bat and really just see eye to eye on things. And he's just the best. I couldn't even, like, I always tell him, I'm like, how did you just read my mind? Because I don't speak producer, but I have this like clear image in my head of what I want things to sound like, but I just speak in feelings. And he's somehow like, okay, got it. Like
He's done
but
it long
he's
enough.
just a genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
has.
Yeah, it's an interpretation like anything.
Yeah, and the production is great.
Yeah.
And of course, I went on the Apple Music with the album liners to see who played on it. It's all the
The
heavy
best
hitters,
guys.
yeah, Dan Dugmore and
Oh,
Jerry
yeah.
Rowe and all those cats. And it's so funny because when I think of his production, you think like Nickelback and FGL, but now it's like this record is just country gold. And you think Jake Worthington's record,
Yeah.
country gold, and it
Yeah.
sounds
Ern's new
so
one,
good.
too.
Yeah, I mean,
Ern too, yeah.
he's just
All
such
those
a
guys.
talented producer, and he can just do anything. It seems like.
Yeah, he really can. Like, and that's what's cool about. And I won't speak for Joey, but I think that's what's fun for him. Probably is just getting to do something totally different than what he's done before, and that's why he's good. Like, he can do any kind of music. I mean, he really can. Like, and he's proven that. And also, like, he's just good at taking, which Big Loud in general is good at this. I think just taking, an artist and who they are and who they want to be, and they're just good at helping them do that.
Yeah.
I've never felt like I was being pushed to do something else. They're just good at like, all right, what do you want? what do you want to be? All right, cool. Let's just go in on that and
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, I
Put
talk
some
about that.
Gas on that fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
And country music, people clearly identify if it's not authentic. But so like what you have to do is you have to figure out who you are and then figure out what you're willing to give to the audience,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
you can't give them everything.
Right.
But you have to give them some stuff so they feel connected. And then just kind of amplify those,
Exactly.
So that's the move is like whatever makes you that you're willing to like share, right? How can you make that seem as large as it can be, you know?
Yeah.
Which is cool.
It is cool. It's like, it's fun as a songwriter too, because for me, the easiest way to do that is just to write it, like just to write exactly what I'm feeling or what I'm going through. And so it can be scary sometimes, but it's fun. That's the most fun part about it to me.
Yeah.
It's the connection.
Yeah, and there's so many people that at an early age like you are still aren't great writers yet. So it's super cool to see how good of a writer you are.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
That's nice. That's really nice. I just love it. And I also feel like I feel really lucky that I've gotten to learn from such good people.
Yeah.
I write with good songwriters. Like I think Luke Laird gave me this advice. He was like, and he's such a legend, and I just look up to him a lot. And he said, it's half of the battle is just being able to recognize good. You know, like if you can go into a room and be able to recognize someone else's line as good, then you'll have a good song. Because it's not, if it were just like me, it's got to be my line. I got to say this, I got to say that. Then like you're just going to bulldoze. But like if you can collaborate and recognize good, then you'll have a good song.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's half of it.
I think that's important.
Yeah, I mean that's so true. It's like what's good to you might not be good to someone else, and so picking that or writing that is kind of what makes it so unique, which is awesome.
And you, your sister is a songwriter as well.
Yeah, she is.
So, and how much older is she than you?
She's 2 years older.
2 years.
Almost exactly 2 years older.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've gotten to see anyone else in your family in the music world?
No, not really.
Yeah.
It's really just us. She's really the reason that I got into it. And yeah, it's funny. You would think our family would be musical, but people are always asking us that. We're like, no, not really. It's just us. There's definitely a lot of music in our family. Like my grandmother can play piano like nobody, and her dad could too. And then we have a bunch of cousins that can sing and write. But no one really pursued it like we're doing. And so it's funny. It's like kind of uncharted territory.
So cool.
My parents are like, okay,
Yeah,
all right.
there you go, thumbs up.
Yeah.
I think it's like you don't really need to have music in your family, but it helps to have a supportive family.
Yeah.
Yes. They're so supportive. They've never I do think it would be really hard if they didn't believe in it, because
Right.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, what are we doing?
Yep.
But they do. Ever since we've been kids, and that's another thing about growing up in Nashville that I think is somewhat of an advantage, or just something I try not to take for granted, is that it just seemed possible to do.
Yeah.
We didn't grow up in the industry at all, but we grew up around country music. Broadway was right down the street, and CMA Fest, we'd go to CMA Fest every summer. And so it just seemed like, okay, people have done this. We can do this. And so maybe that's also why my parents were so like, go get it.
Well, yeah, and they probably have seen people that they know that have done it and
Yeah.
have had successful lives and careers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe you're just really good at it, and they're like, yeah.
That
Right. They've got something.
I'm like, damn, that's a good song. Yeah, go ahead.
We'll say that.
Yeah.
But you've also been on the road.
Yeah, I want to hear about
Some
this.
pretty crazy
Oh, yeah.
shows. Yeah.
Yes.
So, well, let's talk about country concert because we were just there.
we were just there. Yes.
Well, not all of us were there.
Oh, sorry, Kurt.
Sorry.
Yeah,
FOMO.
We'll fill you in.
I love country concert. It's so much fun.
It is.
I love it too. It's
Yeah.
So
so
great.
fun. Those are kind of some of my favorite types of shows to play, like a festival, especially in the Midwest. It's just like everybody's so nice, and it's a pretty drive to get there, and the crowd was so rowdy and fun.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it. We had a good time.
BYOB festival.
Country boys and girls
And
getting
then-
down on the farm, I guess. Or whatever it is.
Campground.
Campground.
Getting down on the campground.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my 13th year, 12th festival.
Whoa.
Yeah, at Country Concert.
That's wild.
So I've been going there since way before Raise Rowdy existed.
Hell yeah.
And now we get to help out with the saloon stage and the camper party, and it's the folks, the Bar Horse family, and the folks that run that festival make everyone feel like family.
Yeah. They
And
were
it's
so.
amazing.
We did it last year too, and both times it's just been everybody's so hospitable and sweet and just awesome.
It is super cool.
Yeah.
And those festivals are fun because you get, I mean, you know, a couple thousand people. Not that you're not used to that now, but
No,
which we'll get to. But I just love seeing how much those folks love country music and how much of a tradition that festival's become in that area, so that there is such a, you'll be like, oh, this is my first festival. I finally was allowed to come. You'll hear people saying, and you'll hear people that are like, I've been coming for 20 years straight. You know.
Oh my god.
I thought you had the record, but I guess not even
No.
close.
Yeah, not even close.
Maybe
Not
one
even
day.
close.
Yeah,
You'll
probably
get
not
there.
even. Yeah. But it's
80th
super
year.
cool. And then you've been doing some bigger shows than that.
Some bigger?
Yeah.
Some big shows, yeah.
Some crazy ones.
Some crazy ones. Morgan Wallen.
Yeah. Doesn't get much bigger
The
than
elephant in the room.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah, it's been really cool. Especially like, I don't know. I feel really lucky and grateful to him for bringing me because I'm a baby artist. Like it just feels unreal to get to do that, but it's cool. Like we've just been learning a lot. And even in country concert too, like it's cool to just watch it grow. Like I said, we did it last year and played the same stage and it was still so fun. People showed up and there was a good crowd, but then coming back this year, there was so many more people and I was playing a little later in the day and like people knew the words and stuff. And so it's so cool. And the Morgan shows, like, I mean, it's just crazy. I can't believe that I'm doing that.
I know the answer to this, so I want to ask you anyway. You guys are playing like football stadiums.
Yes.
That's crazy. That's
I know.
50,000 people,
It's really
55,
funny.
something like that.
It's really funny, like, to think about just the fact that I'm doing that. Like, funny is the wrong word, but somebody asked me, they were like, so which do you like better, playing small clubs or playing stadiums? And I'm like, you know, I'm not headlining these stadiums, right? Like, I don't think I can really answer that. But it's been so cool, like, just to get to, I mean, his fans are so loyal. They're so, like, they show up and they show up early, even if they have never heard of me before. They show up and they are always welcoming. And just even getting to, like, I've gotten to meet people, like meet fans out on the road, and it's just cool. And then also, like, we learn from Morgan every night because we stay and watch his show, and he puts on a hell of a show. I'm sure y'all have been to a concert before, and he crushes it every night. And getting to watch, like, how his band configures the show and where they do certain, you know, like he does this cool acoustic section, and it just inspires me and my band because we just learn a lot and just kind of take notes, and it's been really cool.
Get you thinking about when you're on
I
that
know.
headlining.
Hopefully
What's
one
your
day.
show look like?
I know, it really does. It makes you go, okay, I gotta be like, that's the bar, you know?
Yeah.
Crazy.
How inspiring. I need to go see him headline I haven't seen the football stadium show.
Yeah.
They're always
should go.
gigging when we're doing it, you know?
Yeah.
I know.
It's like, why don't y'all
kind of
play
on
a
the same-
a Wednesday show in Nashville? You know what I mean?
you know? It's so true. Yeah, that's tough.
I got to see the baseball one last year. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You saw him at Heinz Field too, didn't you?
He was at PNC last year.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
you guys were. He plays, of course, with Luke, and
You're
they
right.
were at
Yeah,
Heinz
yeah.
Field.
Yeah.
So I got one at each last year. It was awesome.
That is cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I just know, like, they're like, I would see, like, I follow like one of his photographers or a couple of them, and there's like pyro and like
It's crazy.
lasers and stuff. I'm like,
Yes.
I want to go see that.
No, it's
it's
so cool. You really
killer.
should. Like, even I don't know if y'all went to any last year, but it's even like bumped up so much
Crazy.
from last year's production. It's just cool. Like, it's just fun.
And I love like the walkout thing.
I
It's
know.
like very, very like, you know, they covered a lot in the media, and it's just
What's
like a super
what's
cool
the
thing.
walkout thing?
So he has like different people, like celebrities from the area or other folks, like walk out with him, almost like a boxer
Or like a
walking to the-
WWE or something?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Like
Okay,
It's
so
really
I saw a
cool.
reel that someone made. It was like my Morgan walkout, and he was like
Exactly.
with
That's
his
what it
dog
was.
or whatever.
That's
I was
right.
like, okay, that makes sense.
So that's it. Like it's so big that people are making fun of it, which means it's working.
Exactly. Which means it's iconic.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
It's really. I mean, they weren't making fun of it, but it was like
No,
they're doing
yeah.
their own version of
They're
it.
Yeah,
imitating
Instead of
it.
instead
Just
of
being
like
silly.
DeAndre Hopkins, it's
Yeah.
like a little tiny dog.
Yeah.
You know, or something.
Yeah, I saw it at a
I
car
think I
dealer.
want to do it. I need to make I've been meaning to like make an imitation.
Oh, that would be great. Tell Reed, he'll help you with it.
Okay.
But no,
right.
it's cool to see that, and that's a moment where you think back on it, and you're gonna think about, oh, that's how Morgan would walk out to his
Yeah.
shows. You know, it is iconic, and it is like it stands out.
It's
you know,
memorable, yeah.
yeah. super cool, and it fits Morgan so well.
It's so
like
him.
his style,
Yeah.
like bringing all the homies with them, and like
Yeah.
different people in each city, and it's super cool.
It really is. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
really
How
awesome.
long's your set when you're out there?
For the Morgan shows, it's been 25 minutes.
25,
So
yep.
quick.
Yeah.
So what's the lineup?
What on the Morgan
Yeah.
tour? It's been kind of like a mix, but for mostly it's been me, Nate Smith, Bailey Zimmerman, Morgan.
Gotcha. So you're the first of 4.
So first of 4, yeah. So you get 25 minutes, which is like, I mean, you just hammer
Get
out
out there and drive.
yeah, bangers only.
Yeah,
right?
got to play the hits.
I mean, talk about like building a show. Like you just have to cram it all in. And honestly, though, it's the perfect amount of time for the level I'm at, because you start going over that, and people who have never heard of you, they're like, all right, like, next. We've heard enough. So 25 minutes is perfect. You get them all out there. You kind of like, you can show a little bit of personality, show them who you are. And so it's been really fun. It's fun.
I know I was talking to Luke's manager, Cappy, and we were watching Brent Cobb play. He was our first guy, and he was playing like 5:30 or something. And he was like, it might look kind of empty, like in a stadium, but there's 20,000 people in there. Cappy's like, yeah, I can see it on my phone or whatever.
Yeah. That's
Like,
really
what?
Yeah, that was like for us too, because I got the first show we did. It was in Indianapolis, and
Ford Field.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think
Isn't that right?
Don't
You're like,
Is that where the
quote me.
Colts play?
Yes, yes. But they didn't tell me this until after I played, which I was really glad for, because I probably would have been really nervous. But I think it was like 20,000 people or something. If that's a wrong number, I'm sorry. So.
No, that sounds right.
I'm really sorry.
No.
It's
But
probably
it was
29,000.
huge. Whatever it was like a bunch of people. And when you're playing, it's like, they're so spread out over all of the stadium. So you don't realize it's that many people. But that's a crazy realization to have. And it's also encouraging, too, because I'm like, okay, there are people here.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than most other venues hold in general.
Well, that's the thing. That's
Yeah.
what someone said, because my manager Seth, he we had the same conversation, and he was like, "This, just so you know, this is more than whatever
Bridgestone.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Bridgestone or whatever."
So if Bridgestone's 17,000, so this would be absolute capacity Bridgestone plus Ascend added on top.
So crazy.
Yeah.
crazy,
It is.
It's crazy.
It is. It's nuts. And
It's nuts.
like having that platform is just such a big thing and amazing for your career.
Very grateful for it.
Yeah. I'm sure it's helped with socials too.
I was
know,
gonna.
like,
That was my next question.
yeah. Talking to artists, like you see
Yeah.
blips almost every time you hit a stadium like that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, I definitely have noticed that, and I'm so bad at social media. I'm trying to get better at it, but that is one thing I have checked. Like, I think there was like a video that I posted from Indy, and it like got a whole bunch of views, and then it kind of just started building from there too. Like every show we did, it would just be like you just reach that many more people,
Yeah.
and that's what's cool, and it's encouraging for me too, because like social media is so tough, and
Yeah.
just to know that like that's coming from tangible people that show up, like that's cool. That's what I like to
Yeah.
hear.
Well, that means that they liked it.
Yeah,
You know?
yes,
So that's the cool
exactly.
part about a show like that is that means they're like, oh, I'm impressed by this. Let's follow along for the ride.
Yeah, I care enough to want to keep
Yeah.
watching.
And then it's just, what do you give them to keep them there? The
Right.
songs, of course.
Right.
But, what little parts of your life are you willing to share with them and hopefully keep them there and
Yeah.
around,
Yes, exactly.
All this live music talk makes you want to go to a Lauren show. you know?
Yeah.
Come on.
That's
Let's
so
go.
you have the Morgan shows. Do you guys have anything else planned in the fall?
Yeah, we're good. Well, I'm doing a couple dates with Maddie and Tay.
Sick.
A
Oh,
couple
cool.
with Corey Kent. Yeah, I'm super excited because I haven't opened for either of them before, and I'm just like excited. I love to see other artists' shows and learn from them too. And we're also doing a few headlining shows mixed in. Like I'm doing one this weekend, and there's going to be a couple more in the fall. And so that I'm really, really excited about. I've just been looking forward to getting to do that, and getting to build the show for that is cool. And like I played my first couple of headlining shows. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't know what day it is.
That's fine.
You know
Yeah,
how it
you're
is.
good.
Yeah.
But it was just cool. Like I love getting to open for artists and play for their fans, and be exposed to people that maybe wouldn't have been exposed to me before. But getting to play a show for your own people is cool. It's like you just feel like we already know each other.
Yeah.
And y'all are here because you want to be here.
Yep.
And that's really special.
And that's when they really know all the words.
Yes, exactly.
I noticed that actually this last weekend we played 2 shows, and one was a IndyCar race thing in Iowa, and so it was like race fans, and Luke Combs does well with that type of demographic, of course.
Speed.
But it wasn't like the crowd wasn't as into it as a Luke show. As there's a difference because it's not 100% Luke. And then when we played the next night, we played a festival, and it was just like 9 Day was just like, okay, we're back.
Yeah, it's funny how it's really interesting.
People that are like spending money to come hear you.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like I remember Carolina Country Music Fest. And I'd been to a bunch of Luke shows, but that was like the first one back. And the crowd knew the hits, but they didn't know every song like every other show I went to where they sang every word for every song.
Yeah.
So it was like interesting. And then I was like, well, I guess that makes sense. Like there's people here that kind of like Luke, but are just here to party, you know?
Or they might be here mostly for this other artist that's playing, but then they're like, oh, wait, Luke Combs is here too.
Yeah.
Like, it's really interesting.
So it's interesting to see that and then go to like the stadium show where it's just almost deafening hearing all the words for every song.
Yeah.
for Luke and Morgan. And
I
I remember the first time I saw Zach Bryan, I was like, I like Zach. And I was like, this is good, but I didn't understand it exactly.
Yeah.
Then I saw his live show and I was like, oh.
Yes. I've
Now I
never seen his live show.
You have to.
Yeah, me and my husband were talking about this the other day, how like, because I don't know if he's seeing a show either, but like we always are seeing it on social media. And he was like, the cool thing about him is like, he just plays live. Like he's playing a live country show and he just has string lights up on stage and it's just like organic, like say what you want about his music, but he puts on a show and it's real, like it's real music. And I think that it's cool and it gives other people permission to do that.
And the band's killer too.
They're so good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think I'm starting to notice this more. It's like people like not using tracks. It's like with Luke, like we don't use tracks, and like Zach doesn't, and like all these other bands I'm noticing that I'm touring with, they're not using it either. I think it's like
pretty cool.
Depending on the vibe or not, I think it's kind of swinging more in that way.
Yeah. That's the other cool thing about the genre right now is it's so broad that you can kind of do anything.
Yeah.
Like
it's true.
And like we went and saw Post last night. Like seeing Post and how embraced he is in the country scene is like I think a really good indication of that. Same thing with Jelly.
Yeah.
Like when Jelly moved into the country world, there could have been so many haters and like
for sure.
like I'm sure there were some.
How could you hate Jelly Roll though?
I know.
He's like such a nice guy.
If you meet him, you're like, this guy's the man.
You're like, I like him.
He is.
But it's interesting to see that. I think with as wide as the genre has gotten and as much crossovers that we've had with other genres, it's really just given the kind of like you can do stuff that sounds extremely poppy. You can do things that are really rock right now, and then you can do stuff that is extremely traditional.
Yeah.
And it all has a place in this genre.
It's cool. Yeah.
Super cool.
It's cool for an artist to know that too, because I'm like, all right, there's a spot for everybody, and like I think it's easy to make. It's easy for artists to feel like, oh, there's only one slot for a brunette girl, or there's only one slot for a blonde girl, or one slot for a cowboy hat wearing guy. And it's like, that's really not true, because I just think about all the artists that I love that were crushing at the same time. And I never thought of them as together or against each other. Like I just thought of them as, I just thought I love Miranda Lambert and I love Carrie Underwood.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think about there being competition. It's funny how it's silly, but as a fan, they don't think like that.
No, and it's country music fans are they find their people they love, and they're like, I love this person, and I can't wait for more of this.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're not like that with just one artist. They're like that with like a whole collection of artists.
Yeah.
So they're almost like, I feel like country fans are like very heavy fans of the artists that they love.
Yes.
And unless something goes crazy, they're going to stick with them.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's cool. And I even think about it, like it helps me to think of it as an outsider to like think about like pop or something, because I'm such an outsider for that world. And I just think about like the pop girl artists that I love right now, like Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah.
They probably feel like they're probably comparing themselves to other people all the time. But when I think about their music, I think about it completely separately. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that'd be so silly of them to feel competitive because
Yeah.
they're both so good in their own right. And then I think the first time I thought about that, I was like, hey, wait, shouldn't I be thinking that for country too?
should.
Like, we're all just doing separate things, and it should, I mean, that's how fans see it. So.
Yeah. And I mean, in my head, what you want is you want music that sounds like you and it sounds like what you're trying to put out. So it has to be a little cohesive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's just steering that direction. And you can change from record to record. I mean, oftentimes now people are just putting out singles.
Yeah.
I prefer if there's like maybe 5 songs that have a certain sound.
Yeah.
Because then if I don't love something maybe about one song, there's other stuff that I can go back to and like really understand it. So that's why I love EPs. I've always loved EPs.
I do too, yeah.
Just because it's like, for me, that's the first statement of who a person is.
Yeah.
As opposed to a single coming out and you can be like, oh, that's just a song they wrote that was good.
Right.
You know? An
Yeah.
Not
EP,
enough data points to really like put together like what is this artist like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
who are they? Yeah.
Yeah,
What's their
change.
sound? Yeah. So I love EPs. Like we
Yeah.
used to do articles on Rage Rowdy about like favorite EPs of the year, because even if it's not a new artist, if someone's putting out an EP instead of an album, specifically 5 years ago, it was because they were trying something else out.
Yeah.
So it was
true.
really exploratory
Yeah.
as new artists, but also as far as like maybe a new sound for an artist.
Yeah, for sure, especially for that reason, because it's like,
Yeah.
or being an artist that that's the first thing anyone's ever heard of you.
Yeah.
Like can be overwhelming to see an album.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my case, 17 songs. Like if that were the first thing,
Yeah.
people would be like, "Whoa! Like where do I even start?"
Yeah.
I know it's like going on the kiss on the first second of the first date. You know, it's like
It's
it's a little much
Whoa,
here.
dude! I don't even know your middle
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
But I think that's important, and I think the industry is changing so much. Like, there's so many artists that are just dropping singles that I think it's cool if you can to drop albums. Like you're saying,
Yeah.
a themed
I
album.
love albums.
You know, me too. And honestly, like one of my favorite things from albums is a song that might not be a single, quote unquote, but it just really hits home. You know.
Yes.
And whether that's a song that someone cuts from someone else that they heard and loved, or whether it's a song that they wrote that maybe just like is 4.5 minutes long and probably isn't a radio single,
Yeah,
you know?
no, that's so true. That's my favorite thing about albums too. I always think about Miranda Lambert because she's one of my favorites of all time. And you know, when you go watch her live show, she plays hits. She plays bangers. She'll play a couple ballads, but she plays the bangers, and it's so fun. Like people love it, and that's so her. But then I think about, okay, well, at the same time, she wouldn't be Miranda Lambert if she didn't have all these random album cuts that are so good. Like it's just so cool that she does both. Like she can play a full hour and a half of hits, but then she's also got a million album cuts that are just like feelers.
Yeah.
Like just so good.
I got to see Garth Brooks during what do they call it, CRS, and it was, I guess, similar to how his show was in Vegas, like kind of before he came back,
Oh, I saw the acoustic show in Vegas.
Yeah.
I saw that.
where people are just calling out songs.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So
I've heard
crazy.
that he does that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Which, first of all, absurd that he knows all the
Yeah.
songs.
Absurd. Oh my gosh. I know. I'm almost like, how does that would make me so nervous.
I know.
Like, I'm not good on the fly. Like I need a plan in life in general and like
Yeah.
shows. I'm like,
A-type.
I need
Yeah. But it was cool because every show's different then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
that's
know, like
really
they're just
cool.
popping out whatever that person screamed loud enough for him to hear. And it could be an old single or it could be like a B cut,
Yeah.
and he'll play it.
And he does
It's
it.
crazy.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I've heard Willie Nelson does a similar, like he goes out there, starts with Whiskey River, and then he just plays whatever he wants, and the band's just like, all right.
right.
They follow. I don't know
So
if that's
crazy.
true, but I have heard that he does that.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
When I saw Garth, it was kind of like, it was almost like a musical in a way. It was just him and a guitar, and he was like, you know, hey guy, he'd come out, play a song. Hey, I'm Garth, obviously. This is how I started. And he would go back and he was like, man, George Strait was my idol. So he'd sing a George Strait song. It's like, then I started writing songs. And I wrote this song that's called, you know, Much Too Young to Feel This Damn Old. And he's like, and then it kind of like, it's like the story of his career. And then he's like, but I also grew up on this kind of stuff. And it's like R&B stuff. And then this kind of stuff. And it's like rock, you know, it's like Bob Seger and whatever. And it's kind of like went through that. And then he gets to the point where it's like, is there anything y'all want to hear? And then people go,
As a matter of fact, yes. That's wild.
yeah. And then he
It's
brings
so,
Trish
like
out.
theatrical.
Yeah.
It's so
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some artists are like so good at that kind of stuff.
I know. And it was honestly super powerful because it's like one of the things I talk about the special of Nashville is places like the listening room and writers rounds
Love that.
where before you talk about the song, you get to tell a little bit of the story. Garth just did that in a big stage in front of everyone.
Yeah, he does it wherever.
Yeah.
That's so cool. For me, that's cool. Like I kind of like to do that in a way too. Not on
Yeah.
Garth Brooks level. But like,
Maybe one day.
maybe one day. But I do like, I like to, it's just part of who I am is that I'm a songwriter and all of my songs are usually true stories or, like mean something to me. And so I do like to kind of throw in a story when I can. And,
Yeah.
in a 25-minute set, that's kind of hard. But in these longer headlining sets, I try to create moments like that and talk about where it came from and why I wrote it or.
I think it's super powerful, and honestly, even if someone loves that song already, specifically if they love it already, they'll love it even more.
I
when they
know
the
that's
background.
right. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
I've watched shows where they tell a story and it makes me go listen to a song I didn't really think about before. So that too.
And also, you don't always know where a writer's coming from when you hear a song.
Yeah,
And so to hear a little bit of backstory, it kind of like makes you appreciate the song more.
Yeah, it makes it a little more like you feel a little more connected to it.
yeah.
Although you go to more writers' rounds than anyone else in the world,
Maybe.
but
You're the king of writers.
Maybe.
Round.
yeah. But you go to around and they're like, yeah, I wrote the song with Joe Schmo and Bob Schmo and blah blah, and they're like, beer pressure, and I'm like, well, we wrote this song because we were drinking beer. I'm like, all right, okay. I didn't really want to drink a beer, but my friend said you should drink one. I'm like,
All right.
and they're telling the story. I'm like, yeah, we get it. Okay, just sing the song.
That's so true.
It's interesting too, like different locations, like festivals. A lot of times they're like, play the songs.
Yeah.
Because
dude, I'm not-
because you're gonna piss off 10% of the crowd, and that's gonna make the crowd weird.
Right.
It's just like, just go play the song.
Like, please stop talking. You don't want your life story. There's definitely a balance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you gotta kind of know the show too.
Yes.
Like a writer's round's built for that. That
Yes.
Garth show, that's exploratory. It was built for that. You know,
Yeah.
and you can build moments into any set where you have those. But
You
I
gotta
think-
read the room.
yeah.
We always play we come out of the gate hot in a live show and play 3 or 4 songs, really, and then we kind of go like, okay, everyone's settling down, and Luke's like, how's everyone doing? It's like we've been playing for 20 minutes straight or whatever, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna tell you about this next song,
Yeah.
or whatever
That's
the song
cool,
is,
yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Is it planned when he does that, or is it usually the same song? Like he'll.
I would say like kind of 50-50.
Yeah.
Sometimes he'll talk in front of things, and then sometimes he won't, and then so we just look, and sometimes he'll just point to Jake and be like,
Let's.
and then
roll.
Jake will just go, kick it off.
Yeah.
Or sometimes he'll just talk and, like there's one time, it's kind of a funny story. Luke was talking about entering the song Houston, and it's about being in Houston and having a great time, but he had just met his wife Nicole, and so they weren't even, I don't even know if they just started dating or something. And so he tells a story about how he was having this time on radio tour, and it's great, and they get to visit NASA and all this, but he was missing her. So it's like, Houston, we got a problem. That's the idea of the song.
Oh yeah.
And then for whatever reason, he just was like in his feels, and he just starts gushing about Nicole, about how much he loves her, and
Oh.
how she's the greatest mother to their 2 kids. And everyone in the crowd is like it's choking up.
They're loving it.
And she was side stage,
Oh.
but couldn't hear shit over there. She's like, what's going on? What? She's like, couldn't hear what he was talking about. I was like, did you hear what he said? She's like, no.
That's why you have board pool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is really funny.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So crazy.
But yeah, so it just depends on the night and who's there, different things.
Yeah, it's funny how every crowd is so different. Like even like the amount of time you can have in between songs. Like sometimes I can finish a song and not really say anything, and people are still gonna be like cheering or whatever, and I can wait, take a drink of water, breathe for a second, and then sometimes it's just they cheer and then it's quiet, and I'm like,
All right, let's go.
it's getting weird.
That's always like when I first started playing shows, I'm like high school rock band.
Yeah.
It's like the time between songs was like forever. Like we're all tuning, and the singer wasn't comfortable. He's like, and then now, you know what I mean? It's like
Yes.
when you first start, you're like,
Been there.
how do I do this? You know?
My gosh.
Now it's like
yes.
if Luke talks, it's like we've got we'll just jam behind him, and it's like, or there's drummer will play something, or everything's all pro now.
Yes.
You know? It's
Yeah,
like,
you guys are
Oh my
like
gosh.
professional.
Yes.
Yeah.
I went to me and my husband, he loves bluegrass, and so we went to a
Same.
Station Inn show. And it was awesome. Like they were just so casual, and they're all playing up there, and literally it would be like somebody would start playing a song, and the guy playing banjo would be like, "This is in the key of D, right?" Like, and everybody's like, "Yep." For everybody playing, this is in the key of D. Like it was awesome.
because they didn't rehearse, they were just like
No,
calling
just
standards.
playing.
Yeah.
Like it was awesome. And like me and my sister, we grew up playing together, and like we literally same thing. We would play shows and not have any idea what we were doing, and like we'd be just like it'd be silent for a minute on stage, and we're tuning and like saying, "All right, what should we play next?" Like so funny.
Yeah.
So great.
The just experience, you know, and when you're on stage and you feel that awkwardness, then you're like, okay, we're not doing this anymore. We've got to figure this out. You know, like let's just tune faster.
Yeah, like make this break 30 times shorter, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or having like a few canned stories that you can always go back to if you need it.
Like a
you
stump
know?
speech.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Yeah. I always like I have so many of those. We like laugh. My drummer will laugh at me. He's like, "Oh, here she goes again." On the
Yeah. Everyone does that.
My
Everyone,
sister
you know.
used to be like when we would play together. She's older than me, but she's like 5 inches shorter than me, and she'd go, "Hey y'all, I'm Caroline Watkins," and I go, "I'm Lauren Watkins," and she'd go, "I'm older, but she's taller," and every time the crowd would be like, like just dying laughing.
Classic.
You gotta have those.
Yeah, I remember like we had when I first started touring, I was playing for Janet Kramer. She would have like her spots where she would tell a story, and one thing she would always do is during the band intro, it was always the bass player's either hometown or his birthday.
Oh, we do that too.
Every show, we'd be like in like I forget where he's actually from. Maybe he's from like West Virginia, but we'd be like in California. We'd be like Isaac Risson, all the way from like his hometown in San Diego, and then next night he's like it's his birthday, and like
I do the same thing to my band.
Yeah.
It'll be like, all right, whose birthday is it going to be tonight?
it's fun. Yeah. So, how big of a band are you touring with?
There is 5 of us right now, including me. So I've got 4 people: drums, bass, electric guitar, pedal steel.
Gotcha. Hell yeah, because there's a lot of steel on the record.
Yes. Yeah.
They
I
just got
was like,
Lucas.
yeah, Lucas Rennie.
Oh,
my steel
cool.
player. He's
Yeah.
so good.
We love
I
Lucas.
felt very strongly about adding a pedal steel player, and I always wanted to, but I mean, you know, it's
Budget.
they're expensive.
Yeah.
And so it was just a matter of time. But when we put that album out, I was like, y'all, there's literally no other way. It's all over the album. We've got to have a steel player. And so I made it work, and he's been so awesome and just sweet guy, but he's so talented too.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Kurt would play. We would have Kurt play at Rowdy on the Row, and we'd call it like West Turnt Night, or we'd just have him pop up and with a couple artists. And so he played dobro. So
Oh, hell
Lucas,
yeah.
the one time, came up and played steel
Oh my gosh.
for the whole round, which was super
Oh,
cool.
that's awesome.
And like kind of an ode to what you did for us too.
Yeah,
Which
that's
is
awesome.
Yeah,
I
we love
I
Wade
love
too.
Dobro too. Wade is great.
Yeah.
All my band is
Yeah.
they're awesome. I got lucky. I really kind of hit the jackpot. They're great
Got a
guys.
good crew.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they feel the same way.
Yeah.
I hope so. It'd be pretty miserable if they didn't.
Yeah, they're like, man, playing these Wallen Stadium shows, this is tough
Sucks.
life.
Eating that good catering.
Yeah.
I know we were like feeling really spoiled because right after that we're going into like playing clubs and
Barbecue.
festivals, and you
We
never
got the
know.
best barbecue in the whole state. And I'm like, that's what they said last night. It wasn't true.
Yeah. I know.
God bless any catering, though. You know.
God
Yeah.
bless any catering. Honestly, whatever it is, I will always have catering. Like save $20 on dinner. It's really nice.
It's like when I went and subbed with Charles, Wesley Godwin, it was like we would play some club that didn't have a kitchen, so they just buy out, hand you cash to go eat. And I was like, I haven't had a buyout in so long. Like I just been because you eat catering, so it's like
Oh yeah.
the food's great and you don't have to do anything or go anywhere, so I don't miss it. But it was kind of fun to like play a club show and then because the stadium's like you're in this sea of parking lot. You can't like walk somewhere and get like a cup of coffee or something.
Yeah.
But it's cool to like get by and like, walk around and go get a fancy cup of coffee and then pick your
Yeah.
lunch out and stuff. It's kind of fun too.
That's so true. That actually is a big difference in like stadium shows and like club shows. Not that I know literally anything about stadium shows. I've just played a few, but that is a big difference. I did notice like you might be under the stadium for the whole weekend and you never see the town.
Yep.
Whereas clubs, you're kind of forced into
Yeah.
being in the city, which is actually nice. I like it. You feel less like closed
Stuck.
away and yeah.
So with Luke, we've been doing like 2 nights at each city, and we stay on the bus. The band does, and the bus is like underground somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes if we're in a city where like I don't have any friends there, I'm just like in underground, and I could go for a run. I just run inside the stadium in the circle
Yeah.
for like
It's
an
a
hour.
village for the weekend.
Yeah, which is great. And then like it's like 2 a.m. I'm like hanging out on the stage, smoking a cigar or something, you know?
Well, at least
Yeah.
you have somewhere to smoke cigars.
Yeah, true.
Right. Right.
But I think the kind of cool like balance is like when you do an arena tour, it's like big show, but also you're like in the city. Like when we played in Boston, it was like we're like right down there.
In
So it's
town.
like there's like lots of cool stuff, and you can get on the train and go somewhere, and
Yeah.
kind of a cool balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. It keeps you that keeps me sane.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
But also when you're staying in the stadium, it's like you stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
That's true.
All the boys are being good boys.
There's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
What's your favorite venue you played so far?
Oh, that is a hard question. I have thought about this many times, and honestly, any show I've done in Oxford, Mississippi, is my favorite because that's where I went to school, and like I got to play Proud Larry's, which I'm actually going to headline Proud Larry's in the fall,
awesome.
which I'm so freaking excited about. But that one's just special to me because I used to go to concerts there all the time. I went there when I was a little kid. Like we'd go eat dinner there with my family. And so I opened for Austin Snell there last year, and I didn't know if anybody was going to be there. Like I was the opener, so I didn't know like if anybody was going to show up, and it was packed and everybody was singing the words. And it was the first time enough people sang where I could like literally hold the microphone out and not say anything. And so that was really cool. So I'm excited to get to headline, but,
It's going to be great.
yeah, I love Oxford and going back there to play.
That's
What a great answer. When people ask me that, I'm like, I don't know, Red Rocks.
Well,
I feel like that's what I'm supposed to say.
well,
you know?
there's different levels, I guess, or ways to answer. But that one's like the most special.
I love it. That's great. I never know how to answer that, but I will say the venue that I haven't played that I want to play is Fenway. We did Gillette instead. But I want to play Fenway Park, and I see like Kane Brown plays it. I'm like, maybe they need like a rhythm banjo player or something. I can just go hang out.
rhythm
Hi.
banjo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our
We're like, here to
rhythm
help.
banjo.
Yeah.
Whatever you need.
Yeah.
I'll be like all those extra guitar tech or something.
Yeah. Oh, that's so crazy.
I believe in you.
Thank you.
Any pinch me moments you've had recently?
Oh gosh, I mean, getting to open for Morgan, honestly, any stadium, it's like I have not gotten used to it. Any show we've done, I am equally nervous and equally excited.
Yeah.
And it's just cool. I mean, not to keep talking about Oxford, but playing Vault Hemingway was huge pinch me moment because I can't even count how many football games I've been to there. And Morgan's like the only artist that's done concerts there. And
Crazy.
so getting to do that, and all my old college friends were there. A bunch of my ex-boyfriends were probably there. Like, that was cool. That was fun.
Sorry, Mom.
Oh man.
She'll be all right.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How cool. Hometown show.
The best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, second hometown, I guess, kind of.
Right.
I count it as a hometown show.
Go State.
You live there.
Is that right?
No.
Oh, not even close. Is that the wrong
Well,
one?
that's the rival, but
Okay. Well, this is like when we had.
I thought you were saying
Some-
that like to mess with me.
No, I don't know. I don't know anything about Mississippi sports.
It's okay.
should.
I'm not taking it personally.
You should have saw her face though, dude. Come
Which is the? We'll educate. This is a teachable moment. As
This is Hottie Toddy. Next time you see an Ole Miss fan, you can say Hottie Toddy
Hottie
or
Toddy.
Go Rebs.
Go Rebs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hotty toddy.
Now you know.
I'm gonna forget this.
Write it down.
There you go.
Yeah.
Write this down. Okay.
And
Write it
then, so we have all of the brand new music that people can listen to right now. The full
Yes.
album is out
The
as we
Heartbroken
speak.
Record.
Yeah.
As we speak, yes.
And make sure you go back and listen to the EPs too, because they are amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Anything else you'd like to talk about while we're here?
Dude, I mean, I feel like we've really covered everything. Listen to the album. It's the main
Yes.
thing. If you take away anything from this, listen to the album. I'm just excited about it. And I feel like it's just kind of a deeper, shows more of me than I've shown before, obviously, because it's more music, but just different sides of me that I haven't got to show yet. And so I just feel like it's a good picture of who I am and what's to come. And so listen to it. I'm
Yeah.
excited about it.
Well, thank you
Great.
so much for being here.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I mean, the music, great voice, incredible writing,
Thank you.
slamming production. It's right. It's done. It's there.
Thank you.
Yep, all of it.
Y'all
You've
are
got it.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
Thank
No,
you.
it's the
Thanks for
truth.
having me. Y'all are awesome. This
Oh,
is
thank
really
you.
fun.
Yeah. Thanks
Yeah.
for coming on.
We love having you, and we're happy to have you back anytime you want.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And thank you for the hats that y'all gave me at
Yes.
the festival.
Oh, yeah.
I've been wearing them.
Yes.
I almost wore that one today.
That would have been great.
It's a classic.
But I was like, oh, they're going to think I'm a crazy fan.
Oh, no.
It's okay.
We're crazy fans of you. So,
There you go.
Thanks.
well, guys, thanks so much for listening to the podcast. I'm Nicky T.
I'm Kurt Ozan, and we'll see you at the front row.